thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
So I really like the Noam Chomsky view on basically how we as readers are a product. And he's saying in even in traditional journalism, in production of, for example, newspapers, the newspapers itself, it's not a product, but the audience is something that is the final product for the advertising. And in this direction, I would maybe ask you to as an expert in the field, to explain us a bit about nano-targeting. Mm-hmm. So now we are not speaking anymore about one big audience. We are speaking about millions and millions of nano audiences. So from your point of view, what are what is the main idea behind? What is the main business model, and and how this nano-targeting is influencing, for example, editorial policy or policy of the newspaper?
Mm-hmm. It is a really interesting question and something that we've been thinking a lot about, because what we see is that digital technologies give entirely new opportunities to engage with the audience, and because of digital technologies, but also the advantage in data analytics and the ability to actually collect data about how users interact with the media, we know so much more about newsreaders. And on the one hand, this can be very useful because it allows the news media to maybe give you more relevant information, because all of us, we experience that there's so much information out there that we can barely keep up with them. Mm. But it also means that, indeed, as you said, that editorial decisions will be influenced by that knowledge about the user, because we know so much on what you click, how long you click, how long you read it. This is all information that is going to be collected. And we know in the newsrooms that metrics are going to play an increasing big role, and that journalists always try to see whether their articles are in the top trending, even if they sometimes say they don't, but it is something that is influencing their decisions. Mm. And on one hand, it might be positive because it helps us to get more relevant news, but there is this question at this point at which asks indeed, what is the product? Is the news media the product, or is the user the product? Or is the idea of the news media to give me everything I like social media, for example, or is there this bigger mission of telling me stuff I should know because I need that as a citizen? And this is a very precarious balance, and the media have just started to actually understand that and try to find out how they strike this new balance, and it is difficult. And it's interesting to see that different media deal very differently with that. For example, quality news media have far more problems with metrics because they have this editorial mission to uphold than some others who are simply turning into user-driven media outlets. So it is also interesting to see that each medium is dealing with that question differently.
Can we say that, for example, if there is a term, surveillance economy, that explain a bit the idea that our every movement, everything that we do online, it's somehow quantified and then transformed into the product. And this is the main business model of Google or Facebook and others. Can we say that there is some kind of surveillance journalism? So journalism based on
yes.
Tracking of people.
Yeah. Yeah, and keep in mind that the information that we collect on what you like, what you see, what you read, this gives very intimate insights into what is going on in your head. Mm. If you buy on an e-commerce platform shoes, well, most you could guess from that you like black or red shoes. But what we read, what kind of political information, what we do not read, this is very sensitive information, and it is sensitive in a policy point of view, but it's of course also very, very precious for advertisers. And we know that the advertisement industry is one of the drivers behind this datafication of the newsreader that is going on, and also using that information to place articles in a certain way or advertisements next to articles. So certainly there is also an economic, very strong economic dimension to that. And simply trying to sell news, which is not per se bad, but if it goes cost of the privacy of users or at the editorial mission of the media, we should seriously reconsider whether this is such a good idea.